Johnson Show, where dreams and goals will find their flow. Business, pleasure, purpose bright. Let's make the world shine with our light.
All righty, so here we are with Marcus Shannon. Welcome, Marcus.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Man, I'm telling you, we had a little technical difficulties doing this just a few seconds ago. I said, this must be really good.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a good conversation.
Absolutely.
So, like we were saying, number one, I'm just crazy about you because you're a man of God. You're a man of integrity. You're a man of action. And I know that nobody has been able to accomplish and achieve what you've done in your life without trials, without setbacks, without obstacles, without life-altering moments. And that's the whole reason why I wanted to do this podcast in this manner is let's talk to real people, have real conversations, and help one another through this crazy thing called life.
Absolutely.
So, I start off easy, but I'm going to get harder with you.
Hey, I'll take it.
I know you'll be great at it. So the first question I've been asking everybody is, what is one book or even a couple books that you've read that have changed your life, and how did it change your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you said a couple because it really is two books. First one is Breakout by Joel Osteen. And, and personally, I'm not the biggest Joel Osteen, sermon fans, right? But that book really, really changed the way I pray. It changed it really changed what I expect from my relationship with God.
I love that.
It normalized my relationship with God, and it gave me permission to come to God as who I am. Because God made me. God knows, he knows my humor, he knows my character.
Yeah. And one of the things I say to my kids all the time is he knows why you even make the decisions you make. Yeah. It's almost like when you go to a friend, you kind of go, okay, let me give you some backstory on the situation and then what's going on. Well, he doesn't even need the backstory. Mm-hmm. And you might not even know why you made the decision, but he knows why you made the decision.
Absolutely.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
What about your other one?
And then the next one is Relentless by Tim S. Grover, the gentleman that trained Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. And Relentless really, again, is for me, I needed a lot of permission on a lot of things, right? And Relentless gave me permission to really unleash that beast when it comes to business.
Isn't it interesting how so many of us, and I'm included too, is you just need someone to give you permission to go out, balls to the wall, to give it all you got, to just, it's weird, but you need permission. Sometimes you need permission to grieve. Sometimes you need permission to be selfish. Sometimes you need permission to make changes. And a lot of times I think our parents did that for us. They would give us permission. But then when you become an adult, who is giving you that permission?
Right.
It's got to come from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to come from you. What do you think when you look at your adult life, whether it's your personal life, your business life, a life as a parent, have you needed permission?
Really to just like as far as my professional life, really just to be who I am, because I am who I am, and I think I've had from the military, from the youth ministry at church to to business now. I've had fun leading people And if I can give myself some credit, I've had some success leading people because of who I, being who I am. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to hold back, not trying to be something else. And I did that for a little bit. When I first started with the business that I'm involved in now, I held back and I was trying to figure out who I am. I was trying to be, okay, should I be this person? Should I be that person? And then it wasn't until just a few years ago I came across someone and I was like, he's like me and he and himself. So if he can do that and have that success, that's all I needed to see.
Well, and when I wrap it up with a bow, it's permission to be who you are authentically,
Yes.
not apologizing and not trying to be somebody you're not.
Right.
And I think so many times we look at other people and we say, okay, our brain does this. It's subconscious. Our brain says, okay, this is what they did. And so that's what I need to do. And because they did it, I need to become like they are so I can achieve the same results. But in reality, your power is you.
Yes.
And I have been blessed to have benefited from your leadership in a networking group that we're involved with. And you were the leader for 2 years when I was there. I know you were a leader for 4 or 5 years, and it was your leadership that attracted me to the organization because of your authenticity. And like you said, you just being you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what people need to do. You need to stop calling me ma'am, Marcus.
Yeah, I'm from the South. My mom, if I didn't, my mom would show up on this thing and slap me and log off.
And then she'd log right back off and said, "Continue on, son."
Yeah,
Carry
absolutely. Yeah. And to add to that, I think because when I teach my team, when I talk to them about being themselves, that doesn't mean that you don't subscribe to growth, right? That doesn't mean, because some people can be like, "Hey, this is just who I am." No, not in that form. I mean like the way God made you, as far as your heart, your character, your personality. Being unapologetic about that part, but still be willing to grow into, who God has called you to be, right?
Absolutely. Play big instead of playing small.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, getting into playing big and getting into being who God made you to be. What are some of the life-altering moments that you've experienced in your life that has led you to be who you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. 2013, my ex-wife and I found out we were expecting a little girl, and shortly after we found out we were expecting a girl, my ex, she went into labor very, very early. So we checked in at a hospital here in the DFW area, and we checked in as residents. That's how long we were going to be there. And she was sorry, we got kids upstairs. All right. We got she was in the hospital kind of inverted, right? Kind of upside down to keep the baby from going too low. But eventually the baby she was born early, and her name was Jackson, because I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. But she lived for 40 days and then passed away. And so I had I could have grieved long. I could have I could have shut everything down and all that, and that's what I wanted to do, because that was a struggle. But thank God I had the right people in my life who said, "Hey, Marcus, you got a couple options. You can mourn, you can grieve, and we're going to mourn and grieve with you. We're going to be right here. Or what you can do is take this and take all the pain, everything that you have, and turn it into something positive and create a legacy for her." And that's what I chose to do. In fact, our team name is New Legacy. Because it's all, everything is about a legacy. Everything you go through, you choose how you want to use it, right? Do you want to use it and remain a victim, or is it a stepping stone where you say, hey, this is going to be a step closer to me building a legacy, and that was hands down the most impactful, life altering moment I've had.
Yeah, because nobody prepares you for that.
Nothing.
You can't prepare for a just situation like that, a horrible, out of the blue, you're not planning on it. You don't want it. You might not have even known anyone else that had experienced that. So
Right.
how long did it take you to navigate through, okay, this is what happened. I'm accepting it. I'm grieving. And now I'm going to move on in a positive way. How long did that process take?
I wanted it to take much shorter than what it did. That was in September 2013, and I really didn't kick it into gear on behalf of her legacy probably until about 2016. It took years.
Well, see, I think it's really important because I think sometimes people, ideas pop into our head, ideas pop into our heart.
Mhm.
And, it could take years before you get to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm ready to start acting. I'm ready to start doing something. And then I think people are like, oh gosh, it's been however long. 3 years to me isn't that long, to be honest with you, Marcus. I mean, to me, there are things in my life that 6 years, 7 years, and then I'm like, okay, now I think I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we're just not ready to act on inspiration or direction and guidance.
Right.
You think this happened to you, and how can I turn around and impact others in a beneficial way? Sometimes some people never get to that point. They're like, hey, this happened to me. I don't want to share it with anybody else. And so I commend you for sharing. You said something. You said something that I want to go deeper into. You talked about a new legacy. What does legacy mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And great question. Legacy is, not just what you want to be remembered by, but legacy is it's the language and culture that you are going to ingrain into your descendants, into that next generation, right? Like our legacy is the legacy I want to leave behind for my children and their children is, the Shannons don't subscribe to excuses. We don't subscribe to being victims. We are victors. No matter what situation is thrown at us, we are going to continue pushing through, continue serving God, and become a victor, a winner in that situation, no matter how long it takes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what I want. That's what I want. That's the language that I want instilled into my kids, and I want them to, to have that ingrained into their children.
So, have you ever watched any interview with Ben Carson?
I think you brought one up to me recently, and I added it to my saved videos on YouTube, but I didn't watch it.
So Ben Carson, that his mother was like, no excuses, no excuses, no excuses. And she had a poem or a song that she would sing, that basically anytime they would start complaining about something, she would sing this little song to them, or because she was like, no, the minute we give up our power, and that's what you do when you make excuses. When you make excuses, you start to give up your power. And hey, look, you can figure it out. I mean, there is nothing you can't figure out. But you have to have that mindset. Yes. And not everybody has that mindset. And I love how you said it's basically the mindset and the culture that you are drilling in to your descendants. And it is, man, I'm telling you, it makes a difference. You know, parenting in general, I think, is one of the hardest things that we do, and one of the most rewarding things that we do, you know?
Absolutely.
And you think that your kids aren't listening and watching you, but they are listening and watching you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So what you say and what you do in all these different circumstances and these situations, you are molding them to what their belief system is.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
what do you think? What are some other values and characteristics and just absolute truths that you think are very important that you like to ingrain into your children's minds?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the mottos that I really live by, I got T-shirts, all this stuff, cups with it engraved, is give your efforts time to compound. You know, is we hear it all the time. We live in a microwave generation, right? Microwave society or culture, whatever they say, right? But is, you know, I want not just my kids, I want those who follow me, those who are around me, to understand that, you know, if you just give your efforts time to compound, eventually, right? Eventually things are going to come together. And I think what's that, Galatians 6:9, you know, in due season.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, my mom always says, and, you know, in fact, this past Sunday, I heard her do it in a way that I have not heard her do it in years. My mom's a preacher, and she preached this past Sunday, and we, you know, went up to Sherman to go watch her, and she got, and she was singing, and she hit it. She said, you know, he may not come when you want him, but he's always on time.
That's exactly right. He is. You know? He is always in time. Sometimes this is, for me as a parent, I have a hard time because I want to step in before the right time. Yeah. And our kids don't learn the lesson that really they need to learn, and God wants them to learn when we step in. And that's why he doesn't step in immediately. He steps in right on time. And sometimes right on time for me is I'm like, I wish you would have come about 2 years earlier.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. And I think that's so important, because sometimes our trials and our challenges, even though they're hard and we want them to be over, we wouldn't be who we are today unless we went through them. Yeah. And sometimes those hard times are hard for a long time. Your season can be long. Yes. And I know I had a situation in my life where I swear to you, it was like a 15-year season. And I swear to you, Marcus, I remember, I mean, I was bawling my eyes out, the cry, you know, the ugly cry. And I just literally, I was praying and I said, God, when is this going to be over? Yeah. And I mean, I call it a telepathic brain drop. And it's like, God just in my head was like, when you let go and give it to me. And yeah. I mean, it was like I immediately stopped crying. And then I said, well, I'm going to give it to you then. I'm not going to worry about this anymore. But that was 15 years. 15 years of struggle. And it was basically, it was a struggle within my marriage. And to the point where I almost, you know, we almost ended up in divorce. But it was because I was trying to control the situation. And God was like, I don't want you to control the situation. Yeah. So, you know, he does always come on time, but sometimes we got to let go and let him go on in.
Right. Sometimes you're the Lord, like, hey, Just making sure, I still got this ticket request up there.
I know.
Do I need to resubmit it?
Well, now what drives you?
That is something that I it changes. It really changes. I used to be self-motivated. I used to be able to, I didn't really need a why. I didn't need any motivation. I used to just be able to just go to work. And that's kind of changed as I've gotten older and lazier, right? Now what drives me is to get other people, and it's mainly focused on my business, right? But to get others around me, to them to see what I see, and for them to see what I see, they need to get to where I am in our business. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, I feel like I'm hanging on the fence, and I'm talking to my people. Hey, come on, trust me, the grass is greener on the other side. Hold my hand, all right. And I'm waiting for them to put their hand in my hand. That way, I can come on. All right, now you see what I see, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's people like that are close to us in our lives. That I just want them to taste now I'm in, by all means, nowhere near where we want to be, as far as success, right? But at least taste what, the success that we have had, because there's more to get, right?
Well, to me, what you're saying is vision. It's like, it's hard. And what you just said made me think of something, because doesn't matter where any of us are, we're further along than some people, and we're not as far as others. I mean, it'll always be that way.
Always.
But when you're further along and you're trying to get people to where you are because it's better than where they are, that in my mind, I feel like, just like you said, I feel like there's a fence, and I've been on the other side and I'm at the top of the fence. I'm like, y'all come on up. I mean, really, seriously, yes. It's great. Come on up, because you want them to be motivated enough to do what they have to do to get there. And you're like, if you could see this, you would be more motivated. Mm-hmm. And so it's sharing that vision, which is something I think is crucial for leaders to do. Absolutely. Is to share the vision. And I think that is something that you do. I mean, I think it's probably just, it's a gift that you have, and everything does rise and fall on leadership. And one of the most important characteristics, I think, of a good leader is the ability to share the vision.
Yes. Because
when people realize it is worth it to do those extra 2 phone calls, it is worth it to stay up 30 minutes later, it is worth it to get up an hour earlier and to do your own personal development and to start the day on the offense. It is worth it. But if they don't see and they don't have a vision that somebody is either as a leader or themselves casted, mm-hmm. they just don't believe they can do it almost.
Right.
And I like it that you said that your vision what drives you changes, because it does. What drives us changes as we move through our life. Now, what makes you smile?
I'm always smiling. So
you are always smiling.
No, so what makes me smile is when I see others win. Because I'll be honest with you. If I can be honest on the Jens Johnson show.
Of course you can. That's the whole point of this.
I'm so competitive. Now I want everybody to win, right? I want everybody to win. I'm so competitive that I don't smile when I see other people win if we're in competition, right? Mm-hmm. I smile when I see my people win.
Right.
If there's something that I did to help you, whether I profit from it or not, okay? Mm-hmm. But if there's something that I did to bless you in a way or whatever, that's what makes me smile. You getting involved in our networking group because of, some type of influence I had, right? That makes me smile. I was in Atlanta. This last month, but 2 years ago, I was in Atlanta again. And I was at a huge event, big convention for our company. And a couple came up to me. It was mainly the guy, or the wife was a little, stood a little further back. And the guy came and said, Marcus, I heard one of your audios. I have no idea what he's talking about. He heard some type of recording where I was speaking at an office. And he said, there's something you said that it woke me up in my business, and it also helped reconcile my marriage. That put a huge smile on my face with tears. Right. So, that is like the biggest way of currency. Are you frozen? Uh-oh.
Okay, just keep on going because I'm just going to see how I can edit that out.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes, the biggest currency is knowing that you can bless somebody. Right. Knowing that, you can say something, you can do something, you can influence somebody to level up in their life. And that's the type of things that really puts a smile on my face, whether I profit from it or not.
So tell everybody what you do, what your business is, and how you got involved and what you love about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am with Primerica. I'm a regional vice president, and specializing in life insurance and investments, really for the middle class. Because when you think about money, who's teaching middle class how money really works? Nobody.
Nobody.
There's TikTok videos, all that stuff, and half the stuff that they're saying on those makes me cringe. Because that is not how it works. So we won't go into details because I don't want to divide the audience here. but been involved in the industry for almost 12 years now. And how I got started, well, actually longer than that, if you include going all the way back to 2007, is when my mom got me started in the business. I was playing college basketball and kept having injury after injury, and mom knew I liked business, and she got me started, and I didn't know that. She told me she wanted me to go into this business class, and come to find out it was a life insurance licensing class, the most boring thing ever. But you got to remember, I'm 19 years old. I'm a college athlete. I'm a musician. I sing. I like seducing girls at the piano at this age. So if there's no basketball, if there's no alcohol or no girls,
you're like, what's this all about, Mom?
What is this, right? So I walk in this class, and there's nothing but older folks in there, just doing licensing. I'll have to say for me, and I gave it a couple months, but I quit on my mom, and went to the Air Force, manned up, got a family, came out the Air Force as far as active duty, and I got a text from my god sister just saying, "Hey, just started working with this company. They're looking for a few sharp people, and I told my manager about you. You should be getting a call from a guy named Trey." Trey called me. We talked about sports, talked about pianos, talked about music. And he said, "Hey, man, you should come to my office and hang out with me." I said, "Cool, send me the address." Get to the office, open these fancy double doors, and it says Primerica on the walls. I was like, God, believe it. Got me.
You were like, Mom.
Yeah, right. So guess
now,
what?
How old were you at that point?
So this is 2013. So I am 25.
Okay, so 19 years old is when you went to go get your license, and then you're 25 now, and it's coming back full circle, and you're like, okay, maybe I should do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a different crowd. younger people in the office, all that stuff, diverse. And I signed up right away. I used my mom's credit card, paid for the licensing fee. On my mom's birthday, March 9th, 2013.
That is funny. Was she so excited when she found out?
She was excited about me getting involved in the company again until she learned I use her card.
And she's like, you better pay me back.
Yeah, right.
She's like, you better pay me back for that.
Yeah.
Well, what do you love about it?
Oh man, it's my team. Being able to, build a team of people who are focused on one common goal and just doing life together. That is something that excites me every single day. I mean, as soon as we finish here, getting ready to head to a training where I'm going to be with my team. Love that stuff. I love the opportunity that it provides because I was a C- student, Jens. Some
of the most successful people in the world were C students. So yeah. That's not a bad thing. That's an indication of a good thing.
Yeah.
Parents don't realize that. In fact, there's a lot of people that are highly successful don't have a college degree.
Right.
The traditional route isn't always the most beneficial route, but the majority, you think about it, there's more Indians and there's fewer chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just is how it is, and it'll always be that way. Right. So for the masses, the traditional way really works well, but then there are people that just doesn't. It's not attractive to them. They don't want to go with the masses. They mm-hmm. have a different path. And to me, it's not coincidence that you love being in a team, leading a team, because you were an athlete for so many years. And that I think there's something that individuals learn in team sports that you really can't learn unless you're in a team environment. So it doesn't surprise me at all how much you love that team environment. And I do think it's really neat because when you're working, a lot of times you're not working in a team. You're a solopreneur or you are working for corporate America, but it's not the same as the type of team that you've created and that you lead. It's a different type of team.
Very true. Very true.
And so that doesn't surprise me at all. Okay, tell me a little bit about your experience in the Air Force, and thank you so much for your service.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I went to the Air Force on a whim. Was the local recruiter in my hometown, Sherman, was always at the gym playing pickup ball with us and stuff, and on his breaks and whatnot. And one day, I was in the gym limping. He was like, "Did you get hurt?" Because I told you I had a lot of injuries while I was playing ball, and told him, I got hurt, yada yada. I actually, stepped away from the team and all that, and he was like, "Man, you should come to the Air Force, man. You can play ball for a living." I was like, "Really? Oh, that sounds very interesting."
And you're like,
right? So I go to his office. I schedule time to go, take the little ASVAB, all that stuff, and I just started the process. And I think maybe about a week later, I was off to San Antonio, and got there and realized, man, there's no such thing as playing basketball for a living.
Oh my gosh!
Now you can make the Air Force team. You can do that, right? But it takes a while. And so I went to basic training. At first, the first 2 nights, I'm like, and I didn't get no sleep. I was like, man, why did I do this?
Yeah. Were you having some regret? You're having some regret, Marcus?
You say it again?
I said, did you have some regret at that point?
The first 48 hours, yeah, nothing but regret. Yeah, I mean, like as soon as you sit down and you start eating, 30 seconds later, they're telling you liquids, so you have to stop eating, drink your cup, flip it upside down, and get up.
Oh,
and I had never eaten that fast.
Right.
So, but anyway, like basic training, it ended up being a breeze because again, I was a college athlete. So a lot of the stuff that you thought was hard, wasn't hard. But you had to make it look like it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
If it was too easy, they're gonna tell you to do more. But the coolest thing is during basic training, I actually got recruited by the Air Force Honor Guard. So as soon as I finished basic, I went up to DC and started training for the Honor Guard. And what was cool is got to be there and work for Obama's inauguration in 2009.
Well, it's your discipline. That's another thing to me, that when you're in sports, you learn discipline, and you have to be a disciplined person to have success in life. So that doesn't surprise me at all that they recognized that in you quickly and had you out of there in a different role. That's amazing.
Yeah,
now, so out of the Air Force, what was the most just memorable part of it, or what did you like the most?
It was I met my two best friends in the Air Force. I haven't seen them in a while, but we talk all the time. And I was at a base where it was nothing there, one of the highest suicide rates.
Oh, wow.
And what a few of us did is, I can't remember how we did it, but we started an organization called the A-Team, and different acronym, but it was pretty much Airmen Against Drunk Driving. And so we had access to the officers club. So what we did, because you remember, even though I'm in the Air Force, this is at the beginning, so I still got that club scene in me, right? So we had access to the officers club. So what we did every single weekend is we would throw these big, huge base-wide parties at the club. But what we did, our organization, Airmen Against Drunk Driving, is we had a roster of DDs. Right? So we had all of our DDs on standby, but got to start throwing some huge parties on the base, and it really changed the morale, because it was very dry, boring, and then next thing you know, we're partying every weekend, and it was just very fun.
Well, to me, that also speaks to your ability as a leader to create a culture that people want to be a part of. And that's, you've got these little, they're gifts and they're talents that have been following you around your whole life. And they're all leadership, discipline, vision, culture, creating the sense of belonging, because I think people want to belong, and a leader creates that. They create the events, they create the systems, they create the culture, they create the vision. And you think that, you probably don't even realize how valuable your gifts and talents are, but if you weren't there creating it, if there's not another leader there, it's not created. Isn't it interesting? And people are just like, oh, this is how it is. Okay, humdrum. All right, people accept things that a leader comes in and says, oh, no, we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
And organize things. I love that. All right, what is something that you're the most proud of in your life?
It's exactly what you just talked about, culture. I'm not sure how it came about. I've always been like that. I remember being a little kid at my brother's birthday party, and it was so cheesy, so corny. All right, it's embarrassing, but my brother, all his cool, he's 5 years older than me. All his cool friends at the party, and they're probably like 14, 15. And here I am as a 10-year-old. I had made some sign and came in there. I was like, hey, this is a party, baby, so let's have some fun. And it was the cheesiest thing I could have said, and they laughed and made fun of me for years for that. But it's like I always wanted to take some type of environment and let's make it even better. Mm-hmm. And I feel like now that I'm a broker with Primerica, a regional vice president, once I became a RVP, then boom, now you got your own team, your own system. What do you do? Well, over time, we have built an amazing culture, an amazing system. And as of right now, to answer your question, I think that's what I'm most proud of.
That's awesome.
I was nervous about it, but it's working, and a lot of people are finding success through this system. And
that's
so
awesome. And that just makes you feel so great too, because again, the masses aren't going to be the ones that create that system. So They create it, and then to teach it, and then to keep it going, because like you said, you got to give your efforts time to compound. You're not going to start doing something and then immediately you see the results. It just doesn't work that way.
Yes.
Which leads me to a question that I think I love hearing the answer to this. Successful people are very routine. And so they usually have a daily routine that they do, or a weekly routine, or a monthly routine. What is a routine that you do, whether it's a morning routine, daily, whatever it is, that you have found a lot of success with?
Yeah. So every day is, even though every day is planned and, goes off the calendar for me, every day is different. But one thing that I do is I turn on I put my headphones in, my AirPods, and I play my Unleash the Beast playlist. And that gets me out of that lazy mindset, that lazy, I don't want to be awake right now. That gets me completely out of that. And the first song that gets played is Mama Said Knock You Out by LL Cool J. And so I'm in the mirror, even before I put my contacts in, Jen, I can't even see myself, right? But I'm in the mirror telling myself, all right, I'm bad, all right? I got this. Mama said knock you out. Whoever I'm competing with today, I will knock you out. All right. And that's what wakes me up. It's silly, but that's my routine every morning.
No, but you know what? It's something that can be so small, but it has such huge impact, because it gets your attitude right, your mindset right. It wakes you up. And I mean, it's daily routines, even something so small, consistently, it's a big deal. People don't put enough emphasis on those little small things, because it's really all the little small things that you do that turn into big things in your life. Yeah. Okay, so when you are long and gone from this phase of eternity and you have moved on, what do you want people to remember you by?
A guy that canceled his subscription to excuses and made things happen.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And you know what? I think that they definitely will, because I've seen that in action, where people have started to come up with excuses, and you said, no, you don't even, you're like, I'm not even going to listen to it. You don't even let that really come into the equation, which is awesome. And I love that about you. I love it about other people. I'm kind of older than you are, and I'll listen to somebody, but you're like, I'm not going to even listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, it came from, because I used to make all the excuses in the world.
Right.
I used to be so excuse driven. And my AAU coach called me out one day in basketball. So just stop making so many excuses and just do it. Man.
Well, how old were you when that happened?
16.
Okay. So that's huge when at such a young age to, number one, have it called out and you accept it and you realized it and you changed it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a super big deal.
Thank you. Yeah.
Super big deal. You know, one of the things that I think is it's important is, you know, the people that we surround ourselves with. You know, you've heard that saying, you are the sum of the 5 people that you associate with the most. Who do you surround yourself with? What kind of people?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's you are going to always catch me around entrepreneurs who are thriving, who are not just thriving, but at least striving towards something greater. Because I love learning from different people. Like that's what my system is. I was talking about. That system that just works like that is a system of all kinds of ideas that I have taken from a bunch of people. It's just like I told you, I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. What made Michael Jackson great is that he didn't invent a lot of stuff that he did. He took a bunch of different dances and moves and stances and created his own persona from that. You know, so that's I would say is, you know, my story there. You know, taking things from those that are around me, you know, and you know, taking these ideas because if I hang out with the people that I grew up with, I'm the most successful. I can't get nothing from you.
You know, one thing and one thing I've learned in my journey in life is you have to have a mentor.
Absolutely.
And you have live mentors. Those are people you know personally, and you're probably a mentor to the majority of people on your team, if not all the people on your team. But then there's also mentors that you have that you don't know, because, you know, it could be, you know, I love Nick Saban. I mean, I come from the world of sports because my dad was a professional tennis player. And, you know, when you talk about your legacy being what you drill, the culture and the values that you drill into your kids' heads, well, that's what my dad did to me. You know, I mean, there were just things that he just said over and over and over again. He drilled them into our heads. You know, one of those is he would always say, everything's not going to always be good. You know, don't freak out. You know, your health isn't always going to be good. Don't freak out. Your finances might not always be good. Don't freak out. Your relationships might not always be good. Don't freak out. Your game playing might not always be good. Don't freak out. It's not, you just keep going. Just like you said, you know, the efforts, give it time to compound, but you just don't freak out. Doesn't matter what has happened. Your house could be burning down. Don't freak out. It doesn't matter what. He was just like, don't ever freak out. And I just thought that's everyone's parents taught him that. And then it was when I went to college and I would see people freaking out over those smallest things. And it's like that you don't realize, again, like we said earlier, you make excuses, you lose control. You freak out about stuff, you lose control. And if you just keep going, you're going to be fine. I mean, that's the statistics are, the odds are in your favor. You just keep going, but people freak out and they stop. It's like, no, don't stop. Just keep going. Everything's going to be okay. You know? So I love that. I love that because that's really has got to impact your kids. Do you notice, or have they said anything to you like, Dad, you always say this? Or do you notice, have you overheard them saying that to somebody else, the things that you teach them?
Not so much overheard them, but yeah, my daughter has reminded me that I say that all the time. But hey, that all that means is that it's familiar to you now. Now it's engraved in your head.
Exactly.
And she's a senior in high school and an exceptional young lady.
Yes, she is exceptional. I've seen and I've heard things about her, and she is exceptional. And man, it does make a difference what we put into these kids' heads. It does make a difference because now, because of these phones right here, they got a lot of other. They've got a lot of other content going into their brains, and as parents, we've got to counter some of the content that they're getting in the world, you know?
Yes.
Okay. Parenting. I want to ask you a question about parenting and then maybe a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think are some of the most important things that you do as a parent?
Oh man, that I really feel like the list could go on. Not just bragging about me, but the stuff I've learned. I think one of the most important things I do is I admire and I compliment the things that my kids can control, not who they are. Because I don't want them to, like, for example, if my daughter has straight A's, I'm not going to say, "Oh, Yanni, I'm so proud of you. You're so smart," yada yada yada, right? Because I don't want her to attach her identity to just being smart. Mm-hmm. What I compliment is, Yanni, I'm so proud of the work that you put in to get those results. I'm so proud of the decisions that you made, the sacrifices that you made to get those results. So now she can say, all right, I'm not just smart. I do the right things to get the results.
That is great, Marcus. That is really, really good. I'm telling you what, that is something that we're going to play over and over and over all over this internet for people as parents, because that is really good. That's really good. I mean,
I appreciate
when
it.
you said smart, I'm like, well, I tell my kids, I'm like, hold on, let me see what he's going to say. I like that. I like that a lot. Did your mom teach you that?
No, I actually got it from one of my good friends and one of my mentors. His name is Trey Foster. So I got it.
Yeah,
from
I
him.
really like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
And okay, so how did 2020 change your life?
Yeah, a lot of personal things happened that year. My relationship with my daughter took a whole nother level up that year because of some hard things that we went through. But my business took a leap that year. So it was one of those things where I'm like, man, we're recession proof and we're pandemic proof.
Well, you would think people started to say, hold on a second, I do need life insurance.
Yes, and they did.
I mean, and I'm sure there were some spouses that were like, honey, you got to get some life insurance because we don't know what's going to happen. And people started to think about their mortality and then their finances and making sure that, we should all be thinking about these things no matter what, but sometimes it is in challenging times that you do think about the most important things, and you deal with some of the most important things that people don't like to deal with or think about, but you got to be prepared for.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so last question here that I have. Okay. What is the thorn and rose, in your opinion, in the times in which we live?
For me personally, and I got to tie it to what we do. And I said this earlier, people are not taught how money works. Couples are divorcing because of finance. People are committing suicide because of finance. And one of the things that, because I was in the ministry with our church, and I left because I found ways to turn this into my ministry. So because where people are struggling with their finances, we're able to open that door and yes, heal their finances, but also that because we now got influence, another door opens to where, we can talk about the Lord, right? Mm-hmm. And we have planted so many seeds through this ministry than ever. It's become the biggest platform. Why? All because people don't know what they're doing with their money.
Yeah, it really is true. And you did say it earlier. Middle class America isn't taught money. They're not taught,
right.
And this is what we should be teaching in school, but we're not teaching this in school. We're teaching crazy things in school. And we need to be teaching these type of principles. So
absolutely.
So what would you consider to be a rose or a blessing, in your opinion, in the times in which we live?
To me, a blessing. Sorry, you got to think the kids are.
Hey, that's okay. I mean, listen, kids are part of life, so we've been talking about it. They don't even know it.
Yeah, absolutely. So a blessing, and that's kind of where I was going with that last question. Is being able to take all this lack of and turn it into an opportunity to minister.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. And to me, when you have the spiritual foundation that you do, you are going to use every platform to minister because, and I think that's really what the Lord wants us to do. He wants us to be the light in the world and everywhere. So everywhere there are people that can be the light and the inspiration and the hope and that's needed. So I love it that you do that in your work, but you do it in your personal life. You do it everywhere you go. And I want to come see your mom preach, man. Yeah. I got to come up to Sherman and see that because you've been telling me I have to meet her.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anything else that you want to share before we sign off?
If God willing, I finish a book that I started writing. The goal is to have it finished before the end of the year. Called awesome. Dear Hustler.
Man, I love that. I love that. I really do think that we don't realize, and I love the podcast platform. I love this platform because we can have a conversation. We can put it out into the world. People can make comments. They want to get to know you better. They can reach out. I'll have all of Marcus's contact information in the description below. I'll make sure, that the books that you even recommended, we'll make sure that's below. But we learn from other people. And that's what I love about books is something that we've figured out or something that we've done to improve ourselves or to help make the world a better place or if we help make ourselves better, we've made the world a better place.
Absolutely.
But so many times and I'm guilty because believe me, I feel like I've got 3 or 4 books in me and I need to just do it, but we just don't stop and do that. And, although you talked about the legacy that you ingrain in your kids, I'm telling you, books to me are legacy. We can pick up a book that's written in 1920 that impacts us right now today in the year 2024. That's a legacy right there. I'm so glad to hear you're doing that, Marcus.
I appreciate it.
You are amazing. Thank you so much.
Likewise,
I hope I
Likewise.
learn my editing skills so I can get this edited and we don't have a little, I don't even know how long that was of a little downtime.
Yeah.
But you just bless so many lives, and thank you so much for coming on the show and
Thank you.
Blessing our lives even more.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you, building this platform. We're gonna definitely reverse the roles very soon. I'm gonna have you, do a podcast or something. We're gonna do something.
We're gonna do something.
We need to hear from you.
You're
the real MVP.
Oh man, I'm telling you what, it is a blessing, man. It's a blessing to be able to help others, and that's what you do, and that's why I love you, because I like doing the same thing. So tell Nikki and the kids hello for us, and thank you so much. I'll let everybody know how to get in touch with Marcus if you want to just talk to him more. He's an incredible person. He can help you in so many different ways. So thank you again, Marcus. And until we meet again, everybody, be big, be bold, and most importantly, be you. We love you all. Bye-bye, y'all.
Welcome to the Jess Johnson Show, where dreams and goals will find their flow. Business, pleasure, purpose bright. Let's make the world shine with our light.